Oh my God, I can't believe we're actually back.
I know, we're back. Welcome to season 3 of Lawfully Chaotic. We've made some major changes around here, and heads are gonna roll.
Major changes around here, and heads are gonna roll, is what they say.
Okay, well, while people, hopefully somebody joins us tonight.
Otherwise, hey, just not, me, it's if not, it could just be podcast time. That's
cool,
fine.
That's fine. Anyway, so welcome to season 3, episode 1 of Lawfully Chaotic. We have made a little bit of changes, a little bit of visual refresh. We've got some flames coming. We've got we're experimenting this season with format. We're gonna have a little more fun, a little less how would you describe it in terms of topics?
I think we don't know what our topics are until we show up is the best way to describe it. And
basically, we might give you teasers at some points. Obviously, when we have a guest, that will be a topic, of course. But otherwise, we're just going to kind of not really stump each other, but we're gonna just surprise each other with what we bring to the table and see where the conversation goes.
I think just have some. A little bit more creative fun by kind of bringing this detail to each other in such a way that we just kind of find ourselves kind of genuinely interested in the topic because it's being brought to us for the first time, and I think that makes a difference. It also I think keeps us from kind of like.
Getting boring.
That and it makes it less work for either one of us to worry about topical stuff,
and if we pick a topic that happens, and if we pick a topic that happens to not have as much meat as we thought, it's going to be less forced by like we got to finish off this topic. So anyway, I will say though, we also Lawfully Chaotic. We've also made some changes as to what channels we're on. So now everything is on Lawfully Chaotic. Obviously, still visit us at TTRPG Academy and RPG and Company, but Lawfully Chaotic is now on Instagram. The VOD will always be on YouTube, and for the time being, we will still live stream to Twitch. Now, we are also live streaming to Instagram, except right now, we're not, because of course the key didn't work.
Are you serious?
I am serious. So
oh my God,
I am going to hit the edit button and hopefully not kill the stream. Do you know if that kills the stream or not? If I hit the stream and I hit the edit button?
I have no idea.
All right, well, then we may not. You know what? Let's just forego the Instagram stream, and hopefully that will be fixed for episode 2.
I wonder
and we will actually.
I wonder if that's like a key thing that you've got to set up right before.
You do, because if you close your Instagram tab, the key changes next time you open it. And I think I had it open too long, and I was flipping through Windows, so I might have switched the key. We will get that sorted for next week. I mean, you up the production quality, and you're gonna have technical issues. I'll get the studio to work on that.
Immediately goes to shit, as they say.
Exactly.
That's how you know it's good government work. Is it
good government work? Hey, how was your holidays, by the way?
Pretty good. Pretty busy.
Where did you went vacation, didn't you? Where'd you go?
Yeah, we went up to Vancouver, which was kind of fun.
Cool, eh?
Cool. Well, not that Vancouver, smart ass. There's there's more than one.
Wait, Vancouver, Canada, or
no, Washington.
Oh, I thought you. Oh,
right
okay,
right across the river from.
Yeah.
Right across the river from Portland.
Right.
Literally, and I'll tell you what, man, the amount of game stores that they have within a 10 square mile area is insane. We went to about 15 game stores.
Wow.
All in the Portland, Vancouver area. Portland definitely had the majority of them. And Guardian Games, and the list, is just endless. And it was more about you're always hoping to find that one game store that you feel like is going to
have a first edition Dungeon Master's Guide sitting in the back,
or
for
like
$3.
I'm always looking for a game store that has like a used section, like a secondhand section.
Yeah.
And oddly enough,
you always score on that shit.
Yeah, I got very lucky the one time I went down to San Diego for a weekend. I found some amazing deals and old school stuff. And then there's a game store in Long Beach I visited about 2 years ago, and I scored on a whole bunch of stuff there as well.
Okay.
So
I have no idea where any of the game stores are in the LA area. I've never been to any.
Always looking.
Yeah. How'd I miss the? Oh, yay! 3 Miles joins us. Thank you.
Yeah, he's probably going, well, where the fuck is everybody?
Yeah, we have a person.
What is this nonsense with this different fucking shit, bro?
What's up, dude? Welcome back. Now we got a show. Well, that's awesome. Holidays here were pretty quiet, which is fine. That's kind of the way we planned it. Waiting for the link drop. Wait, did we not post a link or something?
I don't know, maybe not. Well, I think part of the challenge is I haven't set up. So because we're doing this all through just Lawfully Chaotic Studios, you don't have a Nightbot set up. So you don't have any automation set up in your chat yet. So there's nothing going out. So
okay, well,
we've got to kind of do that manually for a while till we get that sorted.
All right, well, we'll have to remedy that too. Yep. Okay.
Well, go into the tavern chat really quick.
Okay. Well, I need to then. You're talking about on Instagram, right? Or are you talking about?
Are you talking about me or 3 Miles?
No, you, Jason.
No, so there's a Nightbot. So in your a Nightbot can be tied in to into your Twitch, and it can start pumping out contact information. So there's an automatic feature for that.
Okay, so you need Twitch. You need Twitch admin rights, basically, for Lawfully Chaotic. Wait, no, you have that. Yeah. All right, we'll discuss this offline. This is really boring shit. Okay, 3 Miles. Thank you. That will also go. Add that to the list of. Hold on, let me add that to the list of shit that we need to fix. Okay, cool. So, so quiet holidays here. That's about it. So, what do we want to talk about tonight?
So, I actually. I want to bring something to the table tonight that I think is kind of important to me, and I hope people out in podcast land, and as you join us, you begin to you can kind of get a feel for this. But
it sounds serious. Should I not?
Well, it's interesting for me because we always like to start the year and then the mid-year and then the end of the year talk about state of the game. Yeah, that was an interesting article I read. The end of the golden age of TTRPGs.
I missed that. Elaborate.
Well, it's more cannon fodder for the clickbaiters more than anything. I think people who don't play regularly, who don't get an opportunity to play regularly, I think get caught up in these social media stuff. I know that Kurt likes to get caught up in it because he just enjoys reading all the nonsense out there, and we have some pretty intense conversations about it.
One of my New Year's resolutions, by the way, is to get more deeply involved in all social channels and believe everything that I read.
I thought you already did that because you're over 40. Isn't that just like that's the way it works, right? You're over 40.
Pretty much.
But there's a lot of people playing games.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find interesting is what I find interesting is the between State of the Game and The Gods Must Die. Baldur's Gate has really changed the landscape for game interpretation. They won a lot of awards at the gaming awards. There's been a lot of conversation about why Larian Studios is a unique studio. There's some folks out in the YouTube world that have done an amazing documentary on Larian Studios. and there's some interesting points I think that Larian Studios brings to the great to the conversation, as well as TTRPGs.
When you say TTRPG, or you mentioned Baldur's Gate, so we're talking both traditional RPGs and
I'm talking more about the influence of BG3 on the TTRPG world.
Okay, just wanted to,
because for the very first, I think for the very first time, a company listened to its fan base. It also was very mindful of its fan base, took a lot of input from that fan base over a very long period of time, and built something that, for the most part, most people love and have really enjoyed playing. Right.
I have heard nothing but rave reviews. I did finally download the game. I did start it. I did not get very far. I haven't had time to truly focus and delve into it. But I mean, the hours worth that I played, wow.
Yeah, and I think, and I think one of the interesting things about BG3's influence on the gaming world as a whole, console gaming and PC gaming will always have their own back and forth, always.
Yes.
And that's going to be the journey for those folks that love to do that and what that means to them in their world. For me, though, as I've been playing BG3 very slowly, I'm playing it purposely very slowly. So warning out there could be occasional spoilers, but probably not, because I'm barely halfway through Act 1, I think. So I'm hardly even in, most of what people are in, because they've been playing for so long. I'm enjoying the dialogue. I'm enjoying the very D&D-esque artistry. And everything about it. Like, I'm enjoying the content somewhat, but I'm also, because I'm not a regular player, I'm a forever DM. I find the mechanics to be very interesting, and could be very confusing if people try to transcend out of BG3 into 5e mechanics, or potentially other mechanics, depending on what they do.
When you say mechanics in BG3, are you referring to like the interface, or
no? That's UX UI. That's the interface.
I know that. That's what I do, Jason.
No, mechanics.
Don't tell me you. No,
where's your rant cam?
It's too early for that. Let's get a real topic I can rant about.
So when I say
did
mechanics,
they change the mechanics of the game within Baldur's Gate 3?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think that's the big misconception about BG3. BG3 takes a lot of D&D lore of Baldur's Gate and a lot of content license attestation, but they built a very unique way of playing the game. While they're still using action, bonus action, those kind of basic mechanics while you're in initiative, they've put a lot more creativity in the challenges of narrative DC checks. They also made spiritual weapon on its own initiative, and it's an action, not a bonus action when it attacks. So they've changed things, I think, because both the platform required it, but I suspect they probably listened to a lot of players, and a lot of players are like, certain things they didn't like about certain things in the D&D content world, and BG3
regardless of whether it's traditional or digital.
Correct.
We're just talking
Correct.
like this.
And I think they did some D&D or one D&D interpretation too. I think they took some one D&D development stuff and put it in there. What I was disappointed, they don't roll dice all the time. So they don't show you the dice all the time. So when you're in the narrative mode and being interactive with people, you're doing all these fun dice rolls. But when you're initiative combat, they're rolling all the dice in the background. And when you hover your arrow over a target, you're getting a percentage representation of outcomes. So if you click on your action tab and then click on your arrow weapon that you're going to use and then hover that over your target, it might say 72%. And what it's doing, well, I see why they did it because of pacing. Like, I get why they might have done it.
I know, I get that.
But I think one of the things they could have taken from the D&D online game is just up in the corner as a floating kind of like window. Just show the dice roll.
I agree.
Just show it roll. I think that's the one addiction that traditional players like ourselves have, are the idea of dice, right?
I think it's fair to say that, and I think it's fair to say that anybody that plays D&D, even the younglings, like dice.
Are there younglings?
As evidenced by how many people are making dice in the community. I don't think there's any hatred of dice. So that's a really interesting. I mean, what is the first thing that you think of when someone says Dungeons and Dragons?
I think of dice, dragons, and characters.
Dice. The first thing out of your mouth was dice.
Yeah.
First thing I think of is a 20.
Well, I mean, the moniker is the ampersand symbol, typically splattered on a D20, or you know, there's always that cross. So
that's a really interesting decision to take that core factor of this game and MMO-ize it.
I think they're expressing narrative.
I think by narrative.
I think they're trying to really make the game focus on the narrative.
I thought we could start 2024 fresh, and you could dispense with this ridiculous narrative shit.
Your old school way of playing the game is dead, my friend. It's gone. Doesn't exist. You're in a fantasy land. You need to come down from low high and join me on Mon High. Because
I was kidding.
I don't think you are. You claim to be, but I doubt you are.
I feel that rant camp coming on.
If Celesta carried,
let me ask you this: you said Larian listened to their public. Can you still be a druid in the game?
Yeah.
God, fucking.
Are you talking about BG3?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still a druid. You can be a druid
dumb.
if you choose to.
Dumb.
Well, keep in mind the. They've made some changes to what consumes a bonus action.
Yeah.
They blend in some reactionary stuff that is interesting. If Celesta carried the interactions of BG3 or BG3 had the combat of Celesta, they'd both be even better games. Yeah,
I'm actually not familiar with Celesta.
I think when you start comparing games, it's poor druids. There's a really cool fucking spell in BG3 that I'm gonna steal, the way they present it, and that's the other thing I've really enjoyed about it. I've been taking notes about spell effects, I can get a little better with it in my games.
I think that's probably to me.
Their speak with dead is fucking cool.
Really?
You can speak with anything that's dead. They don't always answer.
That's awesome.
But you can interact with, you can come across a random skeleton in the middle of the, hallway. And if you try to speak with it, sometimes it might say, "Oh, someone already spoke with it," or they've been dead too long. I mean, there's always little interpretations that could come out of it. But anything that's you kill a character and then you cast Speak with Dead on it. It's fucking cool, dude. It's cool.
I'll definitely have to check that out. Then.
And those are the little fun things that I'm paying attention to, because I think those are the things that are going to start influencing people as they play this game.
I think seeing spell effects played out. In that way, I think that's probably, to me, the most exciting aspect of this game is really seeing how the spell effects. That was the coolest thing about the movie.
Yes,
which again surpassed my expectations, because my expectations could not possibly have been lower. But that was the coolest thing, in my opinion, was seeing the spell effects come to light.
Right. Me too. I love it when people get on here and try to advertise. It's so funny. You have control over that on your Twitch channel, on your admin rights. You can delete that when that bullshit pops up. It's all bots.
I know
they have automated bots that go and look for channels that have usually 10, 15, 20, 30 viewers, and then they automatically spit their garbage out.
Hold on, give me a second. I'm reading it so I can subscribe to whatever he's selling. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm excited to get deeper into the game because it's pretty freaking impressive. I was waiting. The reason I was waiting is because I wasn't sure if I wanted to play it on the Xbox or the Mac.
Right.
And also, I just replaced my Mac with a new M3 Max machine, so I can run it, balls out.
Yeah. So that's the other thing that 3 Miles brings up that's interesting. They to simplify and streamline their mechanic related to some of the spells. There's a lot of spells that when they activate and work, they stay passive until a long rest.
Oh, that's cool.
I actually kind of like that, and I've been considering maybe the next time I start up a new table.
That's an interesting mechanic.
And that's why I felt like BG3 right now has like a lot of like possibility with influencing the state of the way the game is right now, right? We have this amazing, successful digital alternative to play in a very deep lore that if these folks start playing at the table again, what are they going to bring? Like, what are those influences going to feel like when they arrive at the table?
Yeah.
And I feel like that 3 Miles makes a really good point about that, is that there's certain spells, speak with animals and certain other kind of spells that just become passive in the background.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, basically, really all that is putting a 24-hour duration on it.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Which you're right, for a lot of passive kind of,
well, no, they tie it into the mechanic for long rest, which makes it easier for them to program to, right? So,
right,
but
I'm saying generally in game terms, if you think about it, it's like, okay, I'm casting this till I fall asleep and lose my concentration, and then it goes away. But it's like, you cast tongues, that makes sense to have for like a whole day, whatnot.
Or like I think like speak with animals. Like some of the ones that are like, that allow you to see trapdoors or detect like to me, I've always felt that detect magic. Number one, I've always felt that detect magic should be a cantrip. And that it should be a passive cantrip that just stays up for longer periods of time. Because honestly, within the workflow of a game, like the flow of a game, having the players have to like slow down what they're doing to meet the mechanical needs of a 10-minute.
I agree, but there's a lot of times where, that could also kill a lot of, story elements.
Well, that's where we, as DMs, we get a little bit more creative, though, too, in those opportunities. You know what I mean? Like, hey, talk about an amazing conversation. I had a great conversation with Stilson today. He's going to be joining my Friday night game, Stormwatch. And nice. We were talking about some of those BG3 influences on his game, as he's recently become, into playing D&D as well.
Awesome.
But I think what's interesting about what BG3 brings to a TTRPG table, depending on how that fits in, is I begin to migrate some of these annoying spells or cantrips onto magic items that don't require attunement. So like monocles of detect magic, or
that's cool.
gloves of detect traps, or because to me, I feel like, well, first of all, there's no attunement in BG3.
Well, I homebrewed attunement rules to be way more forgiving, because the in-game
I'm actually
retarded.
So one of the ways I've done,
I shouldn't use that word. I apologize. That was shitty of me. Dumb.
Well, and one of the things I've been experimenting with is potentially one of my other games recently. I've been experimenting with the idea of how to alleviate attunement, but also use it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like magic items made in a special way won't require attunement, but they'll be more expensive. Yeah. So, for example, in the Exandria world, anything fabricated with residuum, means that you don't need attunement to wear it, but it's also very expensive to procure the item. Yeah. That way the item becomes a much more sought after thing. And in BG3, what they just do the traditional paper doll limitation, Whatever you can drop into the paper doll
right. Yeah.
is what you have. So they have
Fill
no
your slots. Fill your slots.
Right. Yeah. And now I'm beginning to wonder, once again, the influence of a BG3 interpretation of not having attunement. I'm wondering if maybe I should
serves a purpose. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
But
I'm really we're gonna have to redo this show. I'm gonna get us canceled after one episode.
Why? What'd you do?
I'm talking over you. I'm using words I shouldn't, like a fucking asshole. Good God.
Well, no.
And that was season 3. We'll see you next year when we're out of our court dates and shit.
But once again, the influence of BG3, right? The idea that if you get rid of attunement, then maybe you don't have powerful items anymore. And relics become the thing you're most sought after. They're very, 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 very rare. But magical items become a little bit more commonplace, but more kind of traditional in their sense. Like a typical way I assume attunement is required is if there's 2 or more effects that the item has. If the item only has 1 effect, I don't require attunement.
Oh, well, I did set up a system for it based on rarity and whatnot, but when it really comes down to it, you keep giving me shit for the whole narrative versus Crunchy Rules thing, and I love Crunchy Rules, but when it really comes down to it, I play test my own homebrew, and more often than not, I'll just go ahead and do a narrative version anyway. Such as with attunement. And it's like, okay, this is really powerful in my mind as it pertains to the context of this campaign. So that requires attunement. So does that and that. And your 7 other things don't, So,
yeah.
But this begs a question like, does 5e need a complete revamp, i.e., a whole new system? Which brings us full circle to what we were talking about for half the year last year.
Yeah, and I think we could easily spend another 15-20 minutes talking about the difference between a core system, a non-core system, and the fluff.
We don't need to go there tonight.
That surrounds it. My immediate answer is no, but my long answer is with some caveats involved.
Right.
I just felt that now that I've had some time to play BG3, that it's influenced me. I've been playing this game for 43 years, and there are some things in it I found very influential, very interesting, very creative. I know. Does it need 1 D&D? You know what? 3 Miles, D6 inspiration for that one, buddy. That was pretty cool.
Please don't get me started. Please don't get me started.
What do you got for us today, Brian? What have you been working on, or what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I do have something to bring to the table. First, I want to show off. I have. It gets to be the end of the year, and creative inspiration sometimes you peter out, and your gas tank is empty, and especially after you and I talked on Monday about where we want to go with the show and a little bit of format change and whatnot. I really just this week, just last week and this week, got kind of a little creative recharge. So I had this mini. I'm going to show it off here. It's now show and tell time.
Nice.
I had this mini here. Let's see. How do we? Whoops. This guy sitting on my shelf for ages, and I finally painted it, and I decided to do like an all green, like emerald theme. And it's funny because some people they put monsters in their campaigns and then they go out and buy miniatures to support it. I'm the opposite. I have a miniature at home and I'm like, how did I put this in my campaign? And then create a whole creature out of it. So I created the gemstone trolls. There's a
so my god, that is so cool. And you're playing around with home brewery.
Yes, I finally delved into home brewery. Awesome.
I'm so excited for you to discover home brewery, because
this fella
here out there who hasn't found it, I'll put a link in the chat. Go check out that home brewery, because that's a really fun tool. It's a lot of fun.
And Jason, you'll be so proud of me. I used Midjourney for that fucking illustration. I've gone full AI, bro.
That is
full
awesome.
AI, man. It's the new trend,
awesome.
man.
See, and here's another thing that we get to play around with pretty soon too is there's a lot of fun things that we can do with our custom camera feeds.
Right.
You know, this is one of them that I built to make it a little bit easier.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
You know, so there's a lot of fun things that StreamYard lets you do. So if you ever want to run a remote game, StreamYard is definitely like one of the more, in my opinion, one of the more premier methods on, you know, doing it. So
that's all I use now for running my remote.
Yeah, it's just so seamless. But dude, that Emerald Troll is so boss.
Thank you. I mean, I'm going to take some real pictures and put them on my feed that better, you know, that better show off the paint job because the lighting in here is terrible. But yeah,
the lighting sucks. Terrible.
But I feel
you that the lighting just sucks.
Call the gaffers. So anyway, but the point is that I feel this new charge of creative inspiration. So, yeah. But the one thing that I did stumble upon, so I know you hate D&D Beyond. I actually really like it.
Well, okay. All right. You know what? You know what? Flash me the rant cam because I'm going to rant for a moment.
And here we go. Rant cam.
You know what? We're gonna talk about that for a moment, right? We've
been promising a rant cam graphic for a year. And and you were the first one to get to use it.
That's right, because it's not.
I guess now we got to make one. So now we got to make one for you because Jason made this for me, and it is fucking scary, uncanny. Unfortunately.
But I think I don't hate D&D Beyond. Let's be clear about that. I dislike lazy programming. There's a big difference.
Oh, you're right. Fair enough.
It's an amazing toolbox that was packed full of tools by very lazy developers.
Well, and I'm glad that's a perfect segue because what have we been talking about? We've been talking about it. I've been talking about it with Twisted UO and Shunjin and some of our other, you know, my peeps and about, you know, getting a fully immersive experience through D&D Beyond. So what did they finally do recently? And and the reason I asked about your feelings towards it is because a lot of D&D Beyond stuff now I just kind of gloss over. And I'm like, whatever. But apparently you can now do maps.
Yeah, which is like saying, hey, have you heard of these new smartphones? They flip open.
Well, and
have you found this brand new flip phone you could finally start using?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, how long have we been talking about this? And they
not only that, but it's like
they do it and they release it and they say it's alpha, so it's gonna suck. And this will also support our upcoming 3D VTT, virtual tabletop.
Right. I think they use alpha and beta just to kind of cover their asses for being shitty developers.
Oh, basically, because their encounter builder has been alpha for 4 years now.
Yeah, like for fucking ever.
And in my opinion, it works better than most release versions of other software. So I don't know why they keep fucking around with this. What I wish they would do is stop this incremental crap and really focus. D&D Beyond is still not what it could be. They're making steps, so I get it, and I give them props for that. Because again, not having to go to Roll20 and link up D&D Beyond and all this shit would be awesome if it's done well.
Right.
But you know what? We're our group. In fact, tomorrow night I'm playing, and we're still using Roll20 at this point. So I give them props for doing it, but it's just I don't know. It feels like their focus, and I don't want to get into. I'm not I'm not leading into another, WotC bashing hour. God damn motherfuckers! But I still feel like their focus is just splintered.
Yeah.
But whatever. So anyway, that's really all I got to bring tonight was was the map
that
edition.
and I as I kind of look back on 2023 at the landscape, I've dug my fingers a bit into Walking Dead, finally Candela Obscura,
Yes.
which I think I'm going to start playing a little bit differently because I finally got some really good feedback from some of my players.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to start approaching that a little bit differently. There's just a general kind of 2023 feels like if you want to play a game that's your favorite pop culture reference, they all exist now. Like they all exist.
Yeah. Totally.
Could there be more unique games to come? Sure. There's a lot of pop culture out there, so there's a lot of things that could happen. There's also, I think, games that need to be a little bit more culture based. Whenever we go back to talking about Shadowrun, we talk about how deep that lore is and how indigenous that lore, is. And I think, that's where a lot of games are missing out as well.
Well, now that the DE&I movement is starting to die a rapid death, maybe that can happen.
I don't know. That's the other thing I think we saw in 2023, and it'll be interesting to see what happens this year. But Callista's cousin, we were having conversations about different available games.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembers games by their names, not by the publishing houses that own them, right? So he wasn't really making that connection. And as I was showing him what had happened in 2023, Cobalt Press, Darrington Press, and all the different, publications, Mad Hat, League Games and stuff like that. There's Catalyst Games. What's happening now is, publishing houses are getting together looking for outdated licensing on content and then tracking down that licensing content and then buying it and then, putting their own spin on it.
Yeah.
And 2023 was all about that consolidation. I think that was definitely WotC's fault. I think as people saw what WotC was doing, they're like, oh shit, there's a lot of stuff out there. If we don't get it, that fucking zombie corporation's going to get it, and we'll never get it back again. The fact that WotC shit all over the retail community, doing their own, printing their own books now, and leaning towards a isolated digital landscape. 2023 was both a very healthy year for gaming and a not so healthy year with its relationship to its corporate overlords.
Totally.
But you'll notice, because that confrontation is not there anymore and that clickbait opportunity is gone, there's not a lot of back and forth between the community and WotC right now. There hasn't been for about 4
Well,
I gave
you a perfect example right there. I get email updates or whatever from D&D Beyond, and I answer them and I'm like, delete. And it's not because fuck D&D Beyond. It's just because
it's just they got nothing to offer now. As much as I appreciate, it's a tool that I use to run my games, and I know that brand new players love it because it's not always easy to figure out rules and how things work. So by far their most impressive thing they built was the character sheet.
Oh, absolutely. That is in my opinion, that's an indispensable tool.
Yeah.
Both for teaching new players, for organization, for, coherency within a group. Absolutely. Somebody's gone. Where's their player character sheet? Well, it's right here on D&D.
And that's the thing that amazes me. Like if you look at the way they built that character sheet with the point and click interactive of it, like if you click on the body of the spell name, it gives you a lot more detail off in the right panel.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. And for me, I had always imagined D&D Beyond in the overall landscape, like their perfect release was going to be, as a DM, I could go in, create a campaign, tie everything into it so that it was an actual tool to help me rather than I have to go find other tools to help me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was what I'm saying before. So now they have the maps, but you still can't use it totally. It's still not there. And if they really, all I'll say, and then we'll just end it there, because again, I don't want to rehash all the fucking shit from last year. All I'll say is if they really focused on it, I still think that's where their focus should be. D&D Beyond and cultivating the online community. And this will be the year. I think this will be the year that will really be a test for them. To see if I don't want to say if they survive, but I would not be surprised this year if somebody else ends up owning the D&D IP by the end of the year.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
That would be great. Yeah.
Well, really quick, because I know we're gonna wrap it up here in a few minutes. Humble Bundle. If anybody's ever done that before, go check out Humble Bundle. They just dropped all 25 Cthulhu books, like the older stuff, and pay what's fair is the way they set it up. It's all digital PDF format. It's pretty amazing. Once again, if you're into Cthulhu lore and you want to get access to a lot of digital content that's going to help you in your Cthulhu game, definitely go check that out.
I'm checking that out. I just played last night. I had at my son's school, we have a dad's club that has a game night, board game night.
Sweet.
We got together and we played Cthulhu Death May Die by Seaman games.
Oh, that's awesome. How was it?
It was so again, short version here. The game is structured in terms of episodes, like books, okay? And there's a core system of rules, but then each episode introduces a specific set of rules to that episode on top of that work with the core rules, okay?
Right.
And me being me, I refuse to jump past an episode that I have not won. And it's funny because, and I've got the core game, I've got the expansion, the whole fucking Kickstarter, 25 episodes. And and it's solo also, it's co-op, so you can play solo. I played episode 5 maybe a fucking dozen times. I played it with other people like 3 or 4 times. The last time we had our game club, we finally beat episode 5. It took 5 people to do it. So it was a major thing. So my buddy's like, well, I'm like, what game should we play? He's like, well, bring over Cthulhu. Let's do the next episode. I'm like, okay. We beat it in one go.
3 miles. 3 miles brings up a good one. I'm going to talk about that one this year. MCDM, which is the Matt, what's his name? Not Matt Mercer, but the Matt Koval. It's the Matt Koval system. Yeah. Very super narrative, very cinematic, very dramatically designed. I'm going to spend some time with that one this year and take a look at that. But I'm going to be spending a lot of time with some new systems this year. Finally, really dig into these systems and really get a feel for these. I think the first run for its money is going to be the Daggerheart release this year. That's that's my watch of the year. Just keep an eye out for Daggerheart. I'm still waiting for Phase 2 playtest to roll out. I wasn't in the Phase 1, so I'm hoping Phase 2 will get to me and I'll be able to finally do some playtesting. So I'm very hopeful for that. But
cool.
Sweet. So let's call it a night.
Okay.
We're trying to get it in that 45 limit, and I feel like
that too. We're going to condense. There's going to be more content on the channel, shorts, clips, all this type of stuff. We're really,
share. And we're going to share a lot more of our creative stuff. If you go to Lawfully Chaotic's Instagram, you could find where RPG and Co is, where TTRPG Academy is. Speaking of which, Bri, what do you got going on at RPG and Co? Where can they find you? What have you been doing?
You can always find Instagram's the best place to find me. RPG and Co on Instagram. I'm just like I said, I'm creatively recharged. So I've got some content coming out. I am actually collating for my homebrew campaign, which you will be a part of, and which is going to start before the winter is out.
I know. I got to talk to Callista about that tonight when I see her.
Yes, and I got to reach out to a couple other of our folks here that I want to bring into the game, and we will stream that fucking finally. Because how long have I been threatening that?
I know, right? I know.
Well, yeah. So yeah. Let's see what else. That's all I got right now. Other than I'm really looking forward to this year and seeing and having fun.
My two big things on the plate are a convention in March that I'm organizing and putting out there. I'll be sharing. Yeah.
See, I'm just trying to build up the anticipation, so when it finally happens, people are going to actually literally pass out.
So we've officially launched our website. The Facebook page is almost up to 200 followers.
Cool.
Which tends to be more local than anything else. So it's called.
Repeat that again, because I think I might have talked over it. This is for.
It's for the convention in March. It's called Come and Get Your Comics On, which you're doing the logo work for me, as well as your RPG & Co banner, which I'm hoping we can get and make it a big one, because I really want to make it one of those display banners with your Linktree information and everything on it. I think that'll be really, really fun to put out there. And we're getting there. We're lining up the artist alley. We're gonna, since the website got released today, it's called the Hemet Nerd Network, which is kind of fun because it's we're building it as a way to draw in Inland Empire folks because they're closest to us. But if you're in LA, come and see us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna have trades tables, artist alley. We're going to have cosplay raffles. We're going to be raffling off a ton of stuff. The building is beautiful and gorgeous. I'll have some videos of the building posted pretty soon. And right now we're, make it a photo op, put your face in the RPG.
I may see if I could come out there for that.
And as always, you can find me over at Linktree TTRPG Academy. It has all my socials in it. You can find me in the chat, and and TPK.
Oh my God, I got to see if I can remember that. Tell a story.
Play a game.
And be kind.
Outro, baby.
Outro.
Hi,
and we'll see
you next Thursday. And we'll have Instagram fixed.
Awesome. We'll have Instagram fixed. Yes. And the links. Both. Yes. I'll talk to our corporate overlords at Legendary Pictures, by the way, who bought us, and let them know we need to fix that shit. So,
oh my God,
all right. Bye. Thanks for joining.
Bye.